Hello everyone, welcome to another Dr. Jeebus Experiments with IL2 video. But today we'll be taking a look at the Po-2. So after the success of my recent 37mm versus buildings episode, decided to take out the Po-2 and see how that did against buildings. Joined on this one by T-Rex, whose channel I'm sure you've heard of if you're on this channel. And we both took off in Po-2s and went over to the front line. Now the first thing we found is, yes, the Po-2 can destroy buildings with no problems. 200kg bombs, two 50kg bombs, each perfectly capable of taking out a bunker, half track, or really whatever else you've thrown it at. But the Po-2 does have a few downsides. So let's get the first one out of the way. It is slow. It is ridiculously slow. Now it's not just a problem with the whole getting from your airfield to the enemy airfield, although it would probably be faster to strap the 50kg bomb on the back of a donkey and send that towards the front lines. But it's more a problem with the whole you are the world's easiest target. Maybe mistaken at long range from some kind of floating weather balloon because you have next to no horizontal velocity, and this means that everything poses a threat to you, even tanks. And I don't just mean from their machine guns. The main barrel of a tank poses a significant threat because you are really just a stationary target. And you might think that you can get around this by, say, diving. But the Po-2 has a few tricks in its sleeve if you try. See, if you dive without fully lowering the RPM, the engine will over-rev and will break. And considering your gliding speed means that you're going to put the plane down maybe about 20 meters away from where you've just dropped your bombs, which probably isn't the best way to go about getting fair treatment by your new captors. And here is T-Rex demonstrating that he too can do the exact same thing with an approximate 10-degree dive. Closely related to this is another issue that I've found was that the Po-2 doesn't like to climb. It's a plane in only the very weakest sense of the word. You can kind of get it off the ground, maybe, and maybe keep it above the tree line. If you try and pitch up more than, say, a degree after taking off, you will very quickly find yourself landing right back on the ground where you came from. Another issue with the Po-2 is its survivability, or general lack thereof. That you are protected mostly by canvas, a couple bits of wood, and if you're lucky the engine or your rear co-pilot might get in the way of a bullet. But really you've got no armor whatsoever, especially in terms of your pilot having no cockpit around them, and so you're likely to freeze to death if the German 20 mils don't get anywhere near you. This is exacerbated by the fact that you make a absolutely lovely target, and 109s, even very low tier 109s, will have no issues getting a good pass on you, as you are again essentially a stationary target. You also don't really have much to defend yourself with. You do have an optional forward-firing gun. That is gun singular, a single rifle caliber gun mounted to the right wing, which I do not know what it's for, other than nice decoration. And you've got the rear-firing machine gun, again as an optional extra, which has really not very high ammo capacity, Again, is just rifle caliber and is aimed generally by the not most enthusiastic co-pilots who will very often put it down to just have a look out front. And then of course, big issue is everything is made in Russia, including the bombs, which as we can see here, even when striking a direct hit on a Panther, may just decide that they don't feel like detonating today. Soviet engineering at its best. Now, it might sound like I didn't like the Po-2, and that really is not the case. There is a lot going for this. Some of it just requires a bit of interesting thought. For example, the airspeed. Yeah, it's certainly a disadvantage, one of its more notable downsides, but there are advantages to travelling slow. One is that it makes accurate bombing really easy. You are going to spend several entire seconds above your target, which means you've got plenty of time to drop that bomb, get it nicely right where you want it. Another advantage is psychological warfare. Your attack run is going to take anywhere up to about 3 hours, and so the enemy will have plenty of time to see the attack coming and contemplate their own doom. And that is certainly how we'll force back the German invaders from the motherland. And not to mention, when you are inevitably shot down, because you're only travelling at about the speed of a slightly excited sloth, that crash landing really isn't too much to worry about, especially on the snow. Can probably just roll out afterwards, as I absolutely definitely did here. Don't look at the corpses. Another hidden benefit is the aforementioned manufacture of this mostly being made out of canvas, wood and hope, is that bullets don't really do a lot of damage to those sort of things, and the Po-2 can take a surprising amount of fire. As we can see here, with most of the wing destroyed, the plane still happily flies around, still got decent flight characteristics, even managed to almost make it back to the airfield before the second pass. And it's a really good thing too, because as we said, you're going to be taking a lot of fire, whether it's from the ground, from the air, or from passing seagulls. You're going to be damaged. Plane can also carry rather an alarmingly large amount of weapons, especially for its era. Get a choice of bombs, rockets, a mix of both, and of course the forward-firing machine gun for ranging purposes, I guess. This is more than enough to destroy many enemy vehicles, or maybe make them think twice about their life choices. Also, I did previously mention that if the engine overheats, you will land within spitting distance of people you just bombed, but this is where the rear gun does reveal its secondary purpose, since this should be pointing directly at the enemy, and so your mistake of crashing can be revealed to be a cunning ruse to set up a pillbox directly in front of the enemy lines. Which does have the disadvantages if your pillbox is still made out of canvas and wood and dreams and probably a few rounds of 20mm at this point. I also need to mention the customization with this aircraft. You get more options than I really thought were possible. You have useful additions like bombs, the rear firing gun, to a lot of general niceties, like the option to have female pilots, nice nod to historical factor, and other things like the option of landing lights and or navigation lights as two separate settings. You also have the option there to use a radio if you, say, want to be able to communicate with anyone else while travelling at no speed at all, few meters above the ground. But finally, most importantly, you can just put Sabaton Night Witches on in the background and just blast that while having a whale of a time. So would I recommend the Po-2 as a competitive frontline attack aircraft? No, I wouldn't. Would I recommend that you pick up this module? Well, yes, I absolutely would. It's currently on sale for $5 or a little over $5. If you've just missed that sale, there'll probably be another one at Christmas. And I've definitely had $5 worth of fun with this plane, and I really can't wait to take it out again. Well, that's all for today. If you have any suggestions for anything that I could experiment with, whether they be really good ideas or really awful ones, do just leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And if you like this kind of content, subscribe and I'll keep putting it out. Otherwise, thank you all for listening. Take care. Have fun.